Hello, welcome to episode 3 of the Medical Receptionist Network podcast. I am your host, Shivhon Adkins, and thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to follow us on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Medical Receptionist Network, and on Twitter, you can follow us at ReceptionistNet. You can also find the Medical Receptionist Handbook to Success on Amazon as well as Barnes & Noble. And I hope you have already had a chance to obtain your copy. If not, please do. It will provide you some great resources and tools to help you with your everyday, professional life as a medical receptionist or medical secretary. And I would love to hear your feedback and share some of your takeaways definitely here on this show. So today it is March 18th. Today is actually my grandfather's birthday, so it's always a great day to remember and to celebrate. We had St. Patrick's Day this weekend, so happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you. Today I'm just going to talk about payment collection and how that directly affects front desk staff, medical receptionists, and medical secretaries, especially because you're definitely expected to make the collection, put in the payment, and make sure the patient has any information regarding balances or deductibles, copays, and the like. So why don't people pay? Or why don't people want to pay? Generally, that's going to be because they don't have the funds available. They're surprised by the amount, or maybe they forgot their purse or their wallet, or perhaps they just prefer to be billed. Please send me the bill. I've heard that a million times. I'm sure you have too. But as the landscape has changed with healthcare, the cost has increased over time, not only with premiums, with copays, and just general, out-of-pocket expenses for the patients. So it's become a little bit more challenging to collect and to make sure that your accounts are up to date. So, you have a lot of patients with carryover balances and, patients that prefer to go on to payment plans, and having those options is really beneficial to your patient and to your practice, because it's important to keep the revenue coming in and flowing, so that the office can run smoothly and that all of your operations can be taken care of. So some of the reasons that patients don't pay, or they can't afford that particular visit for the full amount are some reasons that you may receive some struggle at the front desk, but it doesn't always have to be a negative experience. As long as you're equipped with the right tools, you can, deal with these situations professionally. You can deal with them as if it was you standing on the other side, right? So how would you want someone to help you out if you were coming in and maybe you only had enough for the copay, but then you were informed that your deductible was due for this particular visit. It was a problem, and so now someone at your office did their due diligence, found out what the patient's copay was, and now you're expected to collect that, right? So if you have a patient, first of all, the best thing to do when it comes to finances and payments is to know the policies of your office. Okay, so if your office expects payment at the time of service, and there is a balance, either a previous balance, or you're collecting a copay or coinsurance or deductible, and you know that up front, you should be asking for that up front rather than at the end of the visit. So if you know what the copay would be and what the deductible will be due for that visit, you should ask up front. The patient is not surprised, or they may be surprised, walking in, but they're not, they haven't been seen, they haven't got, have all the other information that they have to remember about, whatever their situation is or whatever their healthcare issue is right now. And they're probably a little more calm. You can, explain to them, we've run your benefits and we understand that you have a $500 deductible. So today you'll be charged a $30 copay plus your $150 portion of that deductible for today's visit. How would you like to make that payment? Credit card or check or cash? And, just kind of ease into it. And generally, patients will pay, and that's fine and that's great. Other times they may say, oh, I didn't realize I had to pay more than the copay today. What is your office's policy on that? Do you then collect the copay and agree to bill the patient? Do you hand them a policy sheet that says that's actually not our policy, but as a courtesy today, we will accept the copay and send you an invoice? Or maybe your office takes an additional step and calls patients before they come in and let them know that they're going to have this balance. To say, oh, we actually left you a message last week regarding what payment will be due today, but we understand sometimes patients don't receive the message in time, so today we'll accept it. That way you're letting them know the process of your office so they know you're on top of things, but at the same time, you're telling them, oh, actually, we did call you, but since you either, you can't prove if a patient knows or they don't know, so you give them your policy and you accept the copay and you document the account, or speak to one of your billing reps and make sure they know as well, whatever the procedure is in your office. Excuse me. And also, not only knowing the policy, you also want to be able to provide them options and alternatives. Say it's not $150 and a $30 copay. Maybe it's a much larger balance, and someone is really looking to set up a payment plan for that. So know exactly what the steps are to get that in motion, so that you can do that while they're in the office, instead of unless it's the policy of your office to have someone specifically call them back. If there's a sheet that you can have them fill out to start that process of payment arrangements, or how often would you be looking to make that payment, how much can you put down today, can you put anything towards it today, and just and it doesn't have to be a fight, it doesn't have to be you pulling, just some kind of general questions. And as long as you keep even keel, some patients tend to get upset when it comes to financial concerns, especially in a medical office, because it's different. While it's still a business and you're providing a service that people have to pay for, it's not like people don't go to ShopRite or the grocery store or the gas station and get upset when someone puts their hand out for the cash. But for some reason, we see more of these challenges when you're providing this type of service as healthcare, because people just feel like we should take a different approach. But we can, but we can't. We can't just let everything slide and say, oh, it's okay, we'll see you next time, we'll catch you next time. Because the bottom line is, some people will not pay their bills, they will not call back, and they will not set up a payment arrangement. So then they've been given free service. That is not good for the bottom line of your practice. That's not good for you or anyone working in your office, because that's just taking away, making it harder to provide the service when the income and the revenue is not flowing properly. Especially when you're giving that excellent quality care and patient care, you want to be compensated for that, so that you can continue to provide that to patients for years to come. So always know what the steps are as far as setting up a payment arrangement, a payment plan. Is your office, do you guys refuse to see people? I mean, these are options, and some offices have different requirements and different things that they can and cannot do, or choose to do and not do. So you just have to follow that of your office. But whatever those alternatives and options are, you should, be very well versed in them, so that when you're discussing with a patient, you're not shuffling, looking around for the information. You can kind of, say it so that they know, oh, she knows what she's talking about, or he knows what he's talking about. Let me make sure next time I come in prepared, and it just shows that level of excellence in your office, that we all know what's going on. Just because someone in our scheduling room called you and reiterated what your deductible was and it wasn't me, doesn't mean that I don't know that took place. So it's just showing that your office and your billing department, your schedulers and everyone works as a team. And maybe another way to do it is, if they have an outstanding balance and they're not able to pay right at that moment, that you hand them a current invoice. Just nicely print out an invoice. So I understand you can't pay today, but I would like to give you an updated invoice, and I'm even going to hand you this envelope so that you're able to make that payment. We we always want to make sure you have everything you need to take care of your responsibilities with our group. If you have any questions, give us a call. Simple as that. Because you cannot um, there's certain conversations you don't want to have at the front desk in too much detail, but doing something that simple, it's very easy, it's pretty private. You're just handing them something, say here, look, you're addressing it, you're bringing attention to it, you're letting them know that is their responsibility, something that your office expects. And it's pretty simple to do, right? And it doesn't take a long time. Hopefully your system allows you to do that pretty easily. And if you're not on a electronic system, maybe you're still paper based and you're not able to print an invoice, or invoice comes from a different department, you can take a sticky or something, a little note, and okay, I'm just going to remind you what your total balance is, and feel free to call us or mail in your payment. Thank you, have a nice day. Obviously, if you have patients who are kind of in the red or headed to collections and things like that, there may be other requirements that you have to follow, or other steps that need to be taken, and that's usually not going to be handled by the front desk. But I think your main position is to make sure that you're attempting to collect, that you're collecting the right amount, that you're doing all your due diligence and understanding what your office expects at your level of service. So you're at the front desk, you whatever you can see, you're probably supposed to collect for. So if you can see they have a balance, if you can see that there's a note about a coinsurance deductible, or maybe you're the one running the benefits, then at the least you should be requesting that and making sure that you're consistent with that all the time. And I talk about payment collection in the handbook because it's an important part of our position in healthcare at the front desk. Even managers, if they're helping out, they're sitting at the front, they have to do it as well. It shouldn't be overlooked just by anyone. And sometimes I read an article recently, and it mentioned how a small community practice, they most of their patients they see out every day in the store or at schools and things like that. So it made it a little more uncomfortable when they went to work and then had to ask someone that they see while they're picking up their kids at school for an overdue balance or a copay and things like that. So there are some unique situations that you may come across, but at the same time you have a job to do, and you can do it very professionally without making others feel uncomfortable and without making yourself feel uncomfortable. You look them in the eye, you let them know what's going on. It's not going to be a secret to them, especially if they have an overdue balance. If they're unable to take care of it, they're not going to. If they can, hopefully they will, and you use your best techniques and skills and keep calm and be very forthcoming with them to try to collect at least a portion of what's due. Let's see. And again, trying to collect before they go in is always very helpful. Sometimes at the end of a visit, depending on what type of office you're working in or setting you're working in, some people don't have to stop back by at the end of the visit. So you really want to kind of try to catch them at the beginning, because depending on what if they don't need to pick up anything, they may think, oh, okay, I'm done, and they just run out the door. You're not going to have the opportunity to chase them out. You have to have the best flow that works for your office regarding payments. Sometimes people may come in and they have an additional service, and so it adds to that. But if you already know what's expected for that day, make sure you are collecting. Let's see. So I feel like front desk and medical receptionists, medical secretaries are so important to this part of the billing cycle. First of all, you have an opportunity to build rapport with patients. They see you. If not everyone else in the office, they're going to see you generally every time they come in. So they should feel comfortable, based on your professionalism, your demeanor, and your ability to be upfront with them and let them know, hey, you have this balance, to want to work with you and want to work out whatever their balance and billing situation is to the best of their ability. So hopefully, because you are the bridge, but you also you're the person who can kind of give them whatever information they need regarding their current balances, and also collect those payments. So that's why you have an important role in the revenue cycle of your practice. And, while it doesn't always seem like that, you're a very important part of that. Think about if you work for 2 days and you didn't ask anyone for a copay or anyone for a balance or anyone for their coinsurance. That would not be good for your group. So what you do is very impactful and it's very helpful, and it's required generally of your position to do that. So, and always think, this is also, while it's a medical facility, it's also a business, and businesses need revenue to run. There's not many places you go today where you're going to get service after service after service without making any payments. You're not going to go get your oil changed and not pay. You're not going to go get your nails done and not pay. You're not going to go pick up loads and loads of groceries and not pay. So while this is a more sensitive service, and we're dealing directly with people and illnesses, and sometimes it's just general care, and sometimes it's mental health, and sometimes it's dental care, and sometimes it's surgical care. But it's very important to be on top of those financial needs and the balances and all of that. And I just hope, the goal today was to let you know how important you are to this process in your office. And it tends to start with you, because you're the first person that people see, and generally the last person that they see when they're finished visiting with the physician or another provider in your office. So I hope that you are collecting the payments, and that you have some good quick phrases or ways to ask that's not intrusive. Always try to keep it kind of private. If you don't have separate cubicles to discuss billing with patients, just make sure that you're not yelling out, "Oh, Miss Jones, you have a $2,000 balance. Are you going to be able to make that payment today?" Don't scream that. Don't use your inside voice. Speak to them. Allow them to feel like they can deal with this with you. Because let me tell you, once a patient becomes, they feel like they have to get on the defense, now you're in a more of a negative, dark space where you're not able to seal the deal. You're not able to help them anymore, because now they don't even want to talk to you. So now you have to send them to the next person, or have billing contact them, or have a manager contact them because they're upset and it didn't go the way that you expected it to. You don't have to argue with the patient about their balance. All you have to do, and if someone becomes combative with you, obviously follow whatever the procedure in your office is to deal with that. But you don't need to get into a space with them, that takes you out of your professional zone. You're just doing your job. You're doing what's required of you. And if someone becomes combative, you just let them know, I'm just wanted to provide you this information and let you know. If you're not able to make a payment today, I understand, and we'll be happy to help you with some other options. And just always keep an even tone, even keel, and you will be continue to be a great asset to your office. So I think that's all I have for today. I hope I provided you with a bit of value. I definitely would love to hear from you. Please email me at info@medicalreceptionistnetwork.com. Again, you can find the Medical Receptionist Handbook to Success on Amazon.com, as well as BarnesandNoble.com. And it's even available on Kindle. I definitely recommend you have it in hand so you can take some notes and write some things down and bring it back to your office, or some of your coworkers or colleagues and folks in healthcare field. And if you'd like to be a guest on this show, you can also email me again at info@medicalreceptionistnetwork.com. I'm looking to speak with medical receptionists in any specialty, any general practice. I want to know what value you're bringing to your practice, what new and cool things you do to keep your office, keep your office running, and your front office, running very smoothly, and what challenges you may have dealt with in the past, as well as managers and other healthcare professionals, to really find out how your medical receptionists and your unit secretaries have provided value to you and your group. So thank you again for listening. This is episode 3, Medical Receptionist Network podcast, and I am Shivhon Adkins. Until next week. Thank you.